Hi there. So in this video, we are going to look at how college admissions work. We are starting our journey into the senior year. We are a homeschooling family. However, a lot of the things that I'm going to say apply to regular public school and private school students who are looking at going into a college, particularly if you live in Tennessee. But we are also looking at colleges outside our state. And so this video will touch on a lot of generalities, and then it will also focus on the state of Tennessee and some things particularly of interest to homeschoolers. So I will touch on three things. I'm going to start a playlist about how college admissions work. And so this is the number one, and I want the number one video, and I want to put the foundation down in a proper way. You want to look at three things, okay? Remove the overwhelm, especially if you're a homeschool mom. You are the guidance counselor. I have people asking me, I have a blog, homeschoolways.com, and I have homeschool moms reaching out to me, excuse me, all the time. And they say, do you do the research or does your child, your senior student? Well, you do the research. You are the guidance counselor. And I'm going to tell you a story. I have some very dear friends and neighbors. Maybe we're somewhere between acquaintance and friend. And they put their children in the local public school. We've walked together, we've talked together. There was an initial shock that this person had that, what do you mean you're going to homeschool? Well, I don't understand. She is very focused on her education. She believes in education. Like me, she's from a different country, born there, but she has lived most of her life, like me, in the United States. So we have a lot of things in common, and we value education. So in her mind, homeschooling was a weird choice. And so what happened was we had that initial conversation of, but why? Why are you homeschooling? And what's going to happen? And this and that. Fast forward 13 years, my son is now a senior. And as we were looking at college admissions, I was asking her some questions because her kids are 2 to 5 years ahead of mine. So I was like, hey, what about this university? What about that university? And she shut me down. And she goes, you do your own research. What do you think I'm doing right now? I'm talking to you. You're a mom who went through this. I didn't say that to her, but I'm thinking, this is where the helpfulness and the friendliness ends. And maybe she was having a rough day. I'm not trying to be harsh on anybody. I'm sure I've said things to people that have set their teeth on edge. But it was like, wait a minute, where's that nice lady that I know? Where did she go? Because all of a sudden, I'm out of homeschooling and my kid is getting very good SAT scores. I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. The PSAT score for my son was in the 99th percentile for the local high school where he could have gone, where he should have gone as a student. 99th percentile against the kids in that high school. And nationwide, 4th%, which is the 96th percentile for nationwide. This is the PSAT test. And his SAT score in the 11th grade, okay, because we've been taking the ACT and the SAT since 7th grade, but in the 11th grade, he got in the top 10% of the nation. And the college board keeps sending him emails like, we want you to start peer tutoring, help your peers to get to where you are, because you're an 11th grader and you're already testing in the top 10% of the nation. And we need you. In Khan Academy and the college board have connected with each other and have joined forces, and they're getting this army of top 10 percenters in the nation to help their peers test there. Now, my son doesn't have an interest in this. He still feels like he could do better, and so he's going to take the SAT again and again to get even higher than 10%. But And so as such, he doesn't feel like he has what it takes to help out the kids, yet. Maybe he'll do it later on. But the point is, going back to my friend, there comes a point where as a homeschooler, you realize everybody's just being nice and polite and kind. But in the back of their minds, they're thinking, how is this woman getting her son higher scores than anybody in this county with schools with qualified teachers and ACT and SAT tutors, and how is this woman doing this? And I'm gonna say this with proper humility. Honestly, it's not me. Okay, I graduated from a very small Bible college in Virginia. Yes, I do speak several languages. Yes, I did receive an excellent education in Romania before computers and before screens. So my brain is wired differently, right? I'm a Gen Xer. I read a lot of books. Anybody can do this. I'm honest here. Anybody can do this. If you have a library card, if you have a car that can take you there, if you have an internet connection at home, you are set, okay? There are math worksheets online that you can just download for free. In fact, I have some. Just go to my website, homeschoolways.com, and you'll find the math worksheets. I have digressed from my initial point, but the point is, college admissions can seem like this big ball of wax that you don't know where to start to melt down into something. And I'm here to help you remove the overwhelm. 3 things, okay? Let's just jump right in after this story and little vent session. But if you're a homeschool mom, you've seen the little silences, you've seen the little polite smiles. Oh, you homeschool, and yeah, I wish I could have done that with my kids. And then we move on, because maybe they are sincere, maybe they're not. But there's always that little veneer of politeness, and then there's a silence that follows, like, you're crazy, you can do that to your children, but I'm not going to do that to mine. Anyhow, let's move on. 3 things, right? College admissions. This is session number 1. I'm going to have a whole playlist about this. Number 1 is your goal. What is your goal? What is your goal? What is your vision? What does your child want to do? We live in Tennessee. And so in the state of Tennessee, the legislators have made it possible for lottery funds to be diverted to education. Tons and tons of scholarships. As a result, K through 14 education in Tennessee is free. You heard me right. If you live in the state of Tennessee, your child can go to a public school from kindergarten all the way through high school, which is grade 12, and then 1 and 2, the first 2 years of college at a community college, right? That's year 13 and 14 of school. That's why K through 14. And so you can go there for free because of Tennessee Hope and Tennessee Promise and all these other little scholarships that are paid for by the poor people of the state of Tennessee who buy lottery tickets. And I'm sorry that the poor people are there, but Jesus said they will always be with us. And they're helping us educate our children if we choose to go the route of the community college, which a lot of homeschoolers do, and it's very wise. It's very wise. I do have on my blog a series kind of parallel to this YouTube series, so homeschoolways.com, and I call the series Homeschool to College, Our Journey, right? Because we're going to transition from homeschool to college. So what is your goal? What is your goal for your senior? What is his goal or her goal for her? That will influence your plan. So that leads me to number 2. You got a goal, you got a vision, and then you've got a plan that stems out of that goal. Because if the goal is no debt when we graduate, by the way, I spoke with Susan Weisbauer in person. Hi, Susan, if you're watching. And she said to me, it doesn't matter what college they go to. It really doesn't. What matters is that you graduate them without debt. Because Susan lived in the world of academia for a long time, right? She taught at a college in Virginia for many years. And she saw people who were not free. They were full of debt, educational debt, and they could not make their own decisions because they had to work. These moms, especially, they had to work because they had all this debt. Okay, especially if you go to Ivy League colleges. I'm going to digress a little bit. Ivy League colleges will not give you merit scholarships. When they've got everybody applying there that has 4.5 GPA and perfect SAT scores, they don't know how to even give a merit scholarship. Everybody merits something. So what they do give is need-based scholarship. Therefore, you and I, if we are middle class or upper middle class Americans, we will not qualify for an Ivy League scholarship, which is always need-based. So then what you need to do is look at state colleges, and you need to look at elite colleges like Rice, Vanderbilt, Duke, Johns Hopkins. Look at them, and of course state universities, like I said. So your goal will tell you what the plan is. So if your plan is, for instance, debt-free degree, it will make a lot of sense to go to a community college for the first 2 years. However, keep in mind the long goal of transferring to a 4-year college. Go to that 4-year university and say, what prerequisites do I need to get from Walter State Community College or Pellissippi Community College or whatever? And then you don't take credits that you shouldn't take. You're not wasting time and a little bit of money that you're going to need for textbooks. And then number 3, so you got your goal, you got your vision, right? You got your plan, at least even in fuzzy details. And then you go to your master calendar and you say, I'm going to need a deadline for the Common App. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to need a deadline for each university. When do they want me to apply? Is there a window for early decision? Is there a window for regular decision? Then FAFSA. When do I need to file FAFSA? What do I need for FAFSA? How about CSS? Do you know I talked to a college admissions counselor who did not even know what CSS was? This is why I'm telling you, you don't need to pay for some expensive college counselor, college admissions counselor. Just watch my videos. I'm going to lay it all out there for free. And visit my blog, homeschoolways.com. I put it all out there for free. As we journey through this senior year for the first time with my oldest, I'm going to share everything I find out. So you got a goal, you got a plan, you got a master calendar, and then you start plugging things in. And just to give you an idea, June, July of your senior year, this is the time to plan. Start preparing for the SAT if you haven't already, but I hope you have been planning and preparing for it. You and your student. By you, I mean your student. And then you've got your August, which that's when a lot of applications happen. If you want to be early, September, absolutely leave that open. That's when you write your essays. That's when you check on your volunteering hours and scholarships. Absolutely look at scholarships. And then October 1st, FAFSA opens. November, December, a lot of colleges will give you their letter of admission for your children. And by January, February, more letters are coming in. March and April is when you get your financial aid packages. Okay, this is just a rough draft, a rough overview of the year. Your March and April, that's when you're going to make a decision, especially if it's if money, if debt-free degree is in your database, in your goal, in your scope of view, right? That's when you're going to make your decision. So pace yourself, take a deep breath. We're in this together, and I'm gonna help you as I go through it myself. And I'm going to share everything I find out, and I'll see you in the next episode.